Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
I don't
Good
say
evening,
anything.
everybody.
I want to make sure it's on, you guys.
It says it's on.
It's on.
I know it says. Okay. I know it says. Will you check it?
Well, you
It
know
says
what's
live.
weird?
Making sure.
You
It
know
says
what's so weird yesterday, now that I think of it? It counted down the 30 seconds.
yes, it did, but it
Now
didn't.
it's counting. You guys, it's counting down right now. It's at 11 seconds. No, we're here.
We're here.
But I wonder what happened yesterday because it counted the 30 seconds down.
We're on. We're live, ladies. Let's do this.
Hi.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Stacy Roseman. Welcome to Empowered by Adversity. We have today Tammy Revard, the Real Airhead, and we're going to tell why. Well, she's going to tell you why. That's her real nickname. And this is an amazing, amazing story of adversity and inspiration, empowerment, and it's tremendous. We did this yesterday. We had an incredible show for the three of us. I was a real airhead yesterday. I thought, and I did press live, but something happened. I don't know what happened.
It doesn't matter. We're all here now, so we're going to do it again for you. So I want to tell everybody how we met Tammy, or the true airhead lady. I'm so happy that we did, because you have an incredible story. I was in a room that Stacy pinged me to come and join in on Clubhouse. It was producers in a room that are there to hear pitches from people for potential movies or books about their life. And I heard Tammy tell her story, and it was incredible. And she really has come a long way. And I really didn't know every little detail because she shared what she shared. Everybody sort of had a certain amount of time. And the producers were so nice to her. And I would love to share what they said that they would do for her and so forth. But let's hear her story and why she's called the air, or why she calls herself the airhead lady. Go ahead, Tammy.
Okay. Hi, I'm Tammy Revard, and yes, we made airhead moves yesterday. I think I rubbed off on them is what really happened. So my brain deteriorated from lack of oxygen in an asthma attack. So if you look on an MRI, part of my brain is not there. And it happened because there was a sprinkler that kept spraying on my old house, and it was caused by mold, and I just had a very bad allergic reaction. I had hired 2 different gardeners to fix the sprinkler, and my ex-husband was a cop, so at the time I worked days and he worked nights. And so he both time turned away the gardeners because he said, "Oh, I'll get to it. I'm going to do it." And of course, it never got done, and the water kept spraying on the house. And it took a couple of years to realize that's what it was. But I had an asthma attack. I had 16 asthma attacks in 3 months. And then the last one was so severe, and we're driving to, and part of the mistake too is I also went to a urgent care instead of the emergency room because I was so bad. And we're driving to the urgent care that was right near our house, and the song "Live Like We're Dying," that song was very popular at the time. And that song came on, and I thought for sure I was going to die. And I was so bad. When I got there, they didn't even take my vitals. They just started putting adrenaline in me immediately because they knew how bad I was.
How do they do that?
They put me on the ventilator where they're, have me breathe into the machine, and they just gave me a shot of adrenaline too. But when they did, I passed out. And so that is what created, I probably was only out a few seconds. But long enough know.
And not enough oxygen went to your brain, and you.
Right. And that's what created the lack of oxygen. And so if you look at an MRI, part of my brain isn't there. And so it's different too than a lot of TBI brain injuries, because those can heal. And I'm not trying to be negative, because I'm so grateful for my life and what I have, but I've learned I've had to adapt to the situations, because since it's missing, I've tried going back to school, and I spent I was spending 5 hours to do homework that should have taken 20 seconds. And my spelling and grammar have not improved. Some of my coordination and speech have improved. This happened in 2009. So it's been a lot of physical therapy and a lot of processes. But at first they told me, oh, you'll be fine in 2 years. You know, just take 2 years off, go socialize, keep yourself busy. And so I did that, and they retested me, and I got the exact same questions wrong on the test. And then they did it again at 5 and did it again at 10. And they tried speech therapy. They tried some different things. And the doctors finally said, you've got to realize you're at this plateau. And so I truly I'm grateful for how far I've come. And I truly am positive as I can be. But I've also been able to accept, okay, this is where I'm at. I have to adapt from here, which is a little different than a lot of other brain injury patients.
Tammy, which part of your brain is it again?
It's in the back, like at the occipital nerve, but it's like the back bottom right part.
I wanted to ask you, Tammy, also, just because you basically got mold poisoning, right? And many, many years of it. What were some of the signs? I mean, we're going to use this podcast to learn and teach other people too from their experiences. So what were some of the symptoms that you felt as a result, that you felt? Because I'm sure there were some symptoms that you didn't, that never came out. But
of course. But no, I was really short of breath, having asthma attacks all the time. And one thing that the doctors were stumped at until we figured it all out, and I had quite a few surgeries in between. They tried all different things. But I had a vocal cord specialist that was excellent. But they kept saying my vocal cords were closing up. But what it was, because of the allergic reaction, my vocal cords were actually what was getting so infected that it was closing up my lungs. And so I was just gasping for air. Like I couldn't go upstairs without being out of breath. It was almost like, you know, like my husband needed a double lung transplant, and it was almost like that.
Wow.
And well, actually not needed. He had a double lung transplant in 2017, but I was like him in the sense that I think that's why I was so understanding when he got sick, but it was just gasping from air. But that's what the doctors said in the beginning before we figured it all out, is that, you know, usually asthma comes from your lungs, and my asthma was coming because my vocal cords were closing up. So
it was induced by the mold.
Right. And complete exhaustion, just so tired. I've got to say, to my ex-husband, I was not a good wife the last few years, because I'd walk in that house and he'd get so frustrated with me because I'd want to go out to dinner with my friends. I'd want to leave because every time I left the house, I could breathe better. I felt better. And I kept saying to him, you don't understand the difference. I'm sitting at a restaurant with friends, or, you know, or sometimes a brewery, whatever, but I was sitting with friends compared to sitting at home on the couch doing nothing. And
so you were still at home after
this is back when it happened, back in it took between 2009 when the asthma attack happened, and that's when I was going through all the physical therapies, a lot of different surgeries. It took from 2009 till 2012 when I got separated and left the house. That's when, and what happened is in 2012, they were going to do another surgery, and they were going to put steroids for the second time into my vocal cords to try to just reduce the inflammation. And the doctor looked at me and he said, and I had already been, this was for the pre-op, and he had looked at him a month before, and he said, what did you do different? And I said, well, I moved out of my house. He said, your lungs are clear. I don't need to see you.
Wow.
Not needed. And I saw him for 5 years. I did not need to see the vocal cord specialist again after that.
And you didn't tell him you got divorced too, right?
What?
It wasn't because you got divorced.
No, well, I mean, maybe a little less stress. I don't know.
Right. But it was the allergy.
But it was definitely the allergic reaction. But but my biggest symptoms were the exhaustion and just overly tired. Yes.
How about now?
Well, now I've got fibromyalgia, so I still get tired, but nothing like, I haven't had an asthma attack. I haven't needed to go to the emergency room since I've moved out of that house. And so, I am just so blessed.
Tammy, do you take medicine for the fibro?
I do. I take one medicine, but it's more for energy. I take a medicine called Nuvigil. I should say there's some medical changes going on right now, but I've been taking Nuvigil all these years, and that is what's given me energy. And Nuvigil is really changed.
What was that medicine we both talked about? Lyrica, right?
What? That Lyrica was a nightmare. We both talked about that yesterday. Yeah. They put me on Lyrica for my fibromyalgia, and I was on a research study, and it was so bad that when they kicked. Yes, sorry. There goes. I forget sometimes, but yes, it was so bad. They kicked me off of the study. Because I was getting such severe headaches and I was so groggy from it, and I was just having trouble functioning on it.
Tammy,
for you.
Yeah. You want to ask something?
Yeah, well, I wanted her to move forward and tell everybody what she was doing for work at the time and going forward. How were you able to work and so forth? Well,
I had two jobs at the time. For many years I worked on, which was my love, I worked on award shows. I was both in the talent department, and I was audience coordinator for all the seat fillers. But what happened was, and I also worked for the Yellow Pages, so I was definitely a true sales rep, knocking on door to door. But again, back in 2009, the internet wasn't real big. It was just starting to really become popular. I mean, it's been around since the 80s, but it was just starting to become popular. And so when I was with the Yellow Pages, I mean, in the beginning, there were company cars. It was a whole different process. But so then what happened was I definitely had to leave the Yellow Pages because I wasn't able to do presentations towards the end because I was having so many asthma attacks that I'd go to present to a customer and I'd be out of breath, especially if they had, we're in a 2-story facility or whatever. And so, but the award shows, I had to, when I got the brain damage, I had to step down from the talent department, which I had started out in seat fillers and then went to the talent department. And I had to step down because I couldn't take that kind of responsibility. Because it could, I was doing things like talent flow where you pulled them from their seat and brought them backstage. And so after that happened, I just went back to seat fillers where it's no real responsibility. I mean, don't get me wrong. We still have to make sure the seat fillers were lined up, checked in, went through security, did, and then we're in the seats and followed everything. But it was a much, easier process. I couldn't do the talent with that, but I worked on the Grammys and the Emmys, Super Bowl halftime shows. I've done over 150 award shows. And so then from there, I worked on award shows and just lived my life for 10 years. Like I said, I tried to go back to school. I tried to do some other things. And then when COVID hit, because like I was saying, my husband had a double lung transplant in 2017. Well,
and that's who you're married to now.
Yes, my current husband. Sorry, Randy, my wonderful husband. And so when COVID hit, well, first off, the Grammys was only a couple weeks before COVID first hit. Right. And somebody that I worked the award shows with that literally ran around a parking lot with me that was perfectly healthy. He was an Uber driver on the side and picked up somebody at LAX that first night when they held everybody, and he passed away of COVID. So it made me even more nervous because of that. But again, there were no more audience departments with COVID. I mean, so it was gone. And so I had to find something to make some kind of income, but I was too paranoid to even leave the house.
Yeah.
I stayed in, I think, till Memorial Weekend. I did not. I had neighbors.
COVID and asthma.
What?
COVID and asthma, not a good combination. Very scary because I have asthma too. So, and mine's not bad at all. How is yours now?
Oh, mine's great now. I have not had an asthma attack since I moved out of that house in 2012.
It was allergy induced. So
it was all allergy induced, 100%. But no, it was more the COVID, because I would have felt so guilty if I got my husband sick, and that I didn't want to be responsible for getting him sick. So I was so over paranoid. And so then
you were being careful.
Very careful. And so then I worked for a couple direct sales companies. One of them I started doing well with, and then I really got involved with one that had the greatest concept. It was an art company that had the greatest concept, where you could do they were going to do wine, paint, and sip parties. But again, we were doing them on Zoom because that happened. But they were going to do wine and a crochet night and a blanket night, all these different parties that you could have done with arts and crafts, adult coloring night and painting, just different parties that would have been so much fun.
Yeah.
Well, I built a downline of over 150 people and really saw potential with this company. And then the owner took off and left. And there were almost 300 reps, and she took everybody's money and nothing.
Sorry.
And it's, again, it's just attitude. There's nothing you can do. You can let it make you depressed, or you just go on and kind of laugh it off like we did yesterday. It's just nothing that could be done. And so, but anyways, it just brought my self-esteem down, because I put so much money into it, and financially, because I didn't have that monthly income I had from the award shows, and now I've worked so hard and nothing. And then I went to another company and I did not do well either. And so then I went on in December, I went on a challenge it's called the Young Entrepreneur Program.
Oh yeah, this is exciting.
Yeah, and these girls know the story now, but this challenge honestly changed my life. I went on the challenge, and it was the community atmosphere, and it was free. The challenge was free. And it was just this community atmosphere where everybody wanted to help each other, and just so caring. But it was all about business. They gave you the tools to help you grow your business and learn your business. And it could be for sales rep, for entrepreneurs. There's a lot of insurance agents. There's a lot of coaches. I'm sorry, what?
Who ran it? Who ran this?
Well, and we'll get to that part, because that happened after, because I know the.
I don't remember. That's why I'm asking.
Jimmy Azell started the company, but then. So that was in December when I joined. Then in January, Kevin Harrington came and spoke and was so blown away. And Kevin Harrington, if you don't know, he is the he's the original shark from Shark Tank. He also invented As Seen on TV. And he invented the infomercial. He is so some people like that, some people don't, but he saw that this airtime, remember back in the days that we used to get that sound, remember the movie Poltergeist? She had the static when the TV went off.
Uh-huh.
Well, he thought this is such wasted airspace, and he literally started the infomercials. He went to some TV stations and said, let me fill your time. And that's how the infomercial started. But he was the inventor of the infomercials as well, as many other companies. And so Kevin came and spoke.
How old is he?
I don't know for sure.
No,
I would say
50s,
60s. I would
60s.
assume, but I don't know for sure. And so like I said, Kevin came and spoke. He was so impressed with this community and the support each other gave us, that him and a business partner of his, Steve Mandel, decided to invest in the company, and they're making the company public. And so pretty soon, YEP will be on the stock exchange.
Again, what's it called?
YEP, the Young Entrepreneur Program. Here, I've got a little bottle here from, oops.
Oh, you put it in.
This is
I put it
our
in the chat.
water bottle, but it's YEP.
Okay.
And what they do is they want to help young entrepreneurs too. Besides just helping adults, they donate money to young entrepreneurs as well. And so, anyways, I just completely just enjoyed that. Well, then I went on another challenge we had at the time called the Breakthrough Challenge, and Dr. Stan Harris, who is part of YEP, put this challenge together, and a speaker called on me. And because I'll admit, I was guilty. I was recruiting and I was looking down on my phone, and the speaker said, "You need to pay attention." And he said, "Tammy, undo your mic." And his name was Willie Tubbs. And Willie said to me, he said, "Tell me something that's different about you than all 250 people on this Zoom." And I said, "I'm an airhead. Part of my brain deteriorated." And he said, "Why haven't you written a book?" And I said, "I'm not trying to be negative, but I'm not capable. My spelling and grammar are not good enough for me to write a book." And I said, "It's not that I have limiting beliefs, but and he said, "I will help you write a book." And then Dr. Stan Harris, or Dr. Breakthrough is known as, said, "That's what editors are for. I will help you as well." And then another author, Linda Joyce, had sent me a message. So within 15 minutes, I had 3 authors offering to help me, and a branded website, the True Airhead. And so from there, Kevin Harrington had heard my story, and that's where we were talking about. Then I went into a clubhouse room. They were, so that was in January. I started writing the book in April 1st. I went by March. The book was done at the very end of March. And
what about Zig Ziglar's son?
What?
What about Zig Ziglar's son?
Well, we'll get to that, because that's after. It's after, but it's kind of
what he was in that.
So, so I went into this clubhouse room, and Kevin was doing a mentoring. And by this point, I had seen Kevin speak, I think 4 or 5 times. He was part of YEP. He had offered, I'm going to help people within YEP, or send me prototypes of projects, and I'll look, So Kevin was he's been amazing through the YEP community. And so I got on there really to thank him for mentoring, and to say my book was at the editor, that, I wrote this book thanks to YEP, and thank you for being a part of YEP. And when I got up to say that to Kevin, Kevin said, that took courage to come up, and your story is so amazing. And he said, I had heard about it, and he said, let me write the foreword to your book. And so Kevin wrote the foreword to my book. And then he said, who else in this room can help? And this clubhouse room just kind of exploded. And I have the most amazing, and I hope I'm describing his position right, but he's like an outside contractor, but he's a manager for Coca-Cola. And he is an artist, and his name is James Somerville, and he's
what is he?
What? An artist.
Oh, an artist. Okay.
But he does all of Coca-Cola's, and so James is and he's done with it. We're just trying to get it all put together. But James has designed the cover of my book, and then I had Damon Andrews, who offered to just help me as well. And he met me in LA and did a photo shoot. And
Wow.
so it's just been amazing. Then I've had 2 other people that were in that clubhouse room that have offered to help market the book as soon as we get it to press, which it should be very soon. We're literally, James just needs to download the computer and it's going to print, or download the artwork and it's going to print. So it'll be a print very, very soon. But this was all just because I got up on the stage in Clubhouse and thanked Kevin. But it had to do with Yep. None of it would have happened if it were not for Yep and being part of Yep. You know what I mean? So then you had asked about Tom Ziegler's son. I mean, I just feel so blessed. It's been overwhelming. And
You're really lucky. You manifested all this. It was meant to happen.
Well, and that's true. And I was explaining yesterday too, and before we get to Tom Ziegler, I was explaining yesterday for the first 2 months when it came to the book, because again, I was at such a low place financially too, because I've gone now almost a year without income, but kept putting all these hours into network marketing, trying to build. And so then.
And your self-esteem, right?
That's exactly what I was about to say. My self-esteem was so low. Like the owner of Yep probably thinks I'm a nutcase, because for the first 2 months, I just cried every time I went to speak, because it's hard to explain. But when I got asked to write the book and the people helped me, it was almost like a religious experience, in the sense that, I mean, I don't know how to explain it. I just felt this thing of confidence come over me and this self-esteem. But that's what a lot of what Yep does too, is besides teaching you the tools to the business, they teach you to mark your wins and to change your mindset and to look at, you have
to celebrate the big things and the small things. And it's obvious that it has affected your mindset in such a powerful way.
Oh,
I mean,
completely.
You're so beautiful inside and out. You're radiating. You're glowing. I'm so happy for you. And I know Gilad is too.
Well, thank you so much. And, it just completely honestly, it changed my life, but I became a different person overnight. I went from this insecure, low self-esteem, just not sure of myself. Yes, I got handed some things, but that's not it.
Big things.
Anybody out there, and that's what I'm going to get to too, is that if I can write a book with part of my brain missing, anyone on listening to this, and I'd be happy to help. We're going to put my information at the end. I'd be happy to help anyone. I also teach classes. I'm writing a book now, because if I can do it with part of my brain missing, honestly, any of you can do it. And a book is a legacy that you can carry on through your family too. And it's, books do carry on. And,
yes, they do.
And it also gives, for people in business, it does give credibility as well. It really can't. Almost everyone I know that has written a book, their sales have increased because they've been able to. It gives them a step up or a level up.
I see a documentary here too.
What?
We'll have to talk about it. I see a documentary here too, because I'm going to do 3 documentaries, and I see a documentary where you can tell your story like you're doing now in the documentary.
Absolutely.
We'll work that as a project together.
Because I honestly want to help others too, because what I went through, I'm so grateful to come out as a different person, but I know what it's like to be so insecure and so broke and so lost, that I want to be able to help others. You know what I mean? And yes, I have a very nice house, but I was house poor because we put every penny we had into the house, and then all of a sudden, we had nothing, and so it's.
You know what, Tammy, though?
It's been a struggle, but you know what? I appreciate it. Sorry, Stacey, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
You know what? And I know you so know this, but true happiness comes from the inside, and you found that. And
right.
It's not, when you have that, things don't matter anymore. When you are fulfilled, You know, when you're doing something, when you're doing your purpose and your passion, life changes drastically. It's not about materialistic things anymore. You have all that. You don't need it. You want to give.
That's exactly it. And like the friends that I was so close to, some of them don't understand it. Like I got a message today, are you sick? You just seem so different. No, I'm putting my effort into my work and into building this where before I had so much free time. You know what I mean?
Rude.
So, but no, I am a completely different person. And we'll get to Tom, but later we'll get into like family and self-esteem. We talked yesterday too.
Can I ask you one more question?
Of course.
Okay, so you know I had severe brain trauma when I was hit by a car as a pedestrian in 2003. I lost my memory.
Blows me away. But yes, completely.
I can't. You know what? I'm laughing about it. It is so not funny. But the thing is, it's not in my body. Trauma, because I specialize in trauma, it gets in the cells of our body, and what is learned needs to be unlearned and go into neutral. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And this is very, very difficult for most people if they ever learn how to do this. They don't understand it. They don't know it. And that's one of the things I teach. But it took me, a year and a half, I lost my memory. I was bedridden for four years. And when it started to come back, I mean, I was like a vegetable. My mom had to re-raise me. I was completely bedridden. You couldn't talk to me. I wouldn't remember anything. I mean, it was just everything was a nightmare. But I started when my memory started coming back. I'd carry a dictionary around with me because I couldn't even spell cat. I couldn't spell cat. I could not spell. Every minute I would say something. Every 2 minutes I'd say the same thing. My poor mother. I'd ask her the same thing every 2 minutes. Again,
it's supposed to be the other way around, Stacy. Right? I said it's supposed to be the other way around. Right? Your mom is supposed to.
I love my mom. Thank goodness for. Seriously, but you know. Maybe that's something you might want to just try, because I had a problem also, and I still do. I mean, I'm great at math. I do numbers like 1, 2, 3. It's like ridiculous. I'm like a calculator, but I do have, and my mother had a educational sales company that primarily focused on English. So I hear my mom's voice behind me. Still, I don't know where the commas and the periods go. It's like one long run-on sentence. But it helped me tremendously being able to look at the words again and again, to open up the dictionary and to do that. And then I did get my real estate license, so I knew I was okay. So it's something you might want to just try. I mean, a little dictionary, just carrying it around and keep having it in front of you. You know, and I still am not the world's best speller, that's for sure, especially when I'm doing voice activation, because everything comes out wrong. You guys, I'm really sorry about it. I'm working on this. I think I got it under control. But yeah, working with that dictionary and, you know, looking at those words again and again, I finally nailed it. And you might want to just try that. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm done. Thanks.
No problem. So, no, and I understand what you're saying, but like I was saying before, when I tried going back to school, mine is a little different than.
Yeah, but that's why.
But it is an attitude, and like you said, manifest things, and I've just learned to adapt with what I can, but I've made major mistakes along the way. Like my family, and kind of we were talking about the insecure and self-esteem. My family, it's the opposite because, and maybe it's my fault, but I needed comfort. So I went to my family and they didn't understand it. They weren't there. And it's very hard. And I've spoken to many brain patients now that I've gotten more involved. And it's very frustrating because it's not like a broken arm or something they could see. And it's not. And so they look like I'm a nutcase. And because I was at a point where I needed support and attention, and to them, I'm just a victim looking for, but what I did is I tried, no, but that's the way they see me.
I understand.
I always had the attitude, I'm not going to be that way in public. I don't want to be a woe-me person. I'm going to be positive. I'm going to keep it positive.
You are.
But to my family,
inspiration.
So much emotion that it's hard to explain, but they didn't see that side.
Tammy, your family's supposed to support you.
That's just it.
And they did the exact opposite. And that's
it's just not who they are.
It's
So
bringing
you
tears to
us,
you.
and you
You're
have a
some people
lot.
are nurturers and some people aren't. And it's taken me a long time to get to that point. But it's like, and it's kind of that when you get this self-esteem or when it all comes over you, you just have to accept that's
Well,
the way
look at
they
you
are.
now.
You're never going to change them. But I made some mistakes as wanting to go to them. I kept it positive on the outside and I kept it positive all the time to everybody else. And I did a lot of volunteer work once I wasn't able to work. But
Honey, look at you now.
What?
Look at you now.
Right.
You are victorious.
And I kind of switched my volunteer work into this work now because with COVID, again, I couldn't be out there volunteering. So I've switched a lot of that, into this now. But no, I am so beyond grateful. And I really am trying to share the word to help anybody with low self-esteem and let them know they can do it. Because if I can do it, I know any of them can do it. And I'd be happy to help guide them, And so, but we were getting to, and I know we keep jumping around here, but we were getting to Tom Ziegler. So then what happened is Tom heard me speak. Well, he's friends with Kevin. So he was even joking that day. He said he took a picture while I was speaking, and he says, I want you to know I took a picture while you were talking and I sent it over to Kevin, and so he says, normally people take pictures of me, but you're like the movie star today, we just sort of joked about that. But, but Tom, when he heard me speak, said, how can I help you? And so I sent Tom my book. He helped me. He gave me some guidelines for the introduction, and then he gave me a testimonial. He said my book is very compelling, and he thinks the readers will be enticed. And so I have that testimonial from Tom, Zig Ziglar's son, who is running Zig Ziglar's industry now that he passed away. So
that's pretty incredible.
I am, I mean, to have two of the biggest marketing entrepreneur gurus in the world on my book from this airhead that can't even spell it right. I feel so grateful. I mean, just words cannot express, but I just want to prove, yes, I got lucky with some connections, but any of you can do this as well. You just need to believe in yourself, find that mindset and manifest and put the work in. Don't get me wrong. And they're in network marketing. They will tell you.
Tammy, how did you do this with the writing? Like, how did you start doing it? How did you get this done so fast? How did you do it?
Well, because it was a little easy too, because it was my story. So, I mean, I probably could have done it in a couple days but now one thing that I did too is, because I do a lot of talking into my phone, but I was not comfortable. I started it trying to talk and to dictate the story. Mm-hmm. And Siri does not like me. She does not like my voice at all. And because I was already so worried about the grammar, that I was going through and correcting every word every time I saw a mistake, that it got to the point that
losing track of what
you're doing. Most people transcribing would be great, but I knew I couldn't go through and correct all the grammar properly.
Stacy,
of the mistakes Siri kept making.
There's an app that Stacy uses.
rev.com.
Yes.
If you talk into the phone and send it to rev.com, they will rewrite, or it automatically rewrites it and does like the punctuation and everything. It corrects everything.
Well, and I have another one. There's another one called Grammarly. And then there's also one called Otter too, that is a good voiceover one too.
Wait, does Grammarly actually, if you do it into your phone, can you send it into Grammarly and they actually are able to present it back to you in written form?
No, I think that's Rev and Otterly.
That is rev.com, and there's another one.
Okay, but see, I got to the point where, like I said, I went back to writing just because Siri didn't like me, but most people can dictate and it's good. I was too worried about too many mistakes as it was, but no, then I sent it in, and it was actually just from Fiverr, but I had this amazing editor that just went through and edited the book, and then I had the 3 authors that offered to help. They all went
Your
through.
deal that you got on that editor, that deal that you got is phenomenal. You have to share that, please.
Yes.
I know you just said.
So, her name was Grammar Girl, and she's just on Fiverr. She's going to be so backed up now. Her name is actually Stacy as well, but it's Grammar Gal on Fiverr. But she
Grammar Girl,
or I think it's Grammar Gal, but she just did an amazing job. I was so happy. And then I had another guy that formatted my book, and I do not know his name, and I feel bad. That guy.
That's right. We can put it on later.
I gave him a huge tip because I was so happy with the way he formatted the book and put it together for me. And I had a couple changes, and I sent him to him, and he was nice as can be. I ended up tipping him higher than so. So anyways, but yes. So the next step for me is as soon as we get the cover inputted, then it goes to copyright, and then it'll be ready to print.
Unbelievable.
So,
and you're going to self? Are you going to self?
Yes, I am self-publishing, but
and how are you doing
I have
that?
a couple people that have said they'll help market. So we'll see what happens. But
what is your recommendation to do it as self-publishing?
I recommend self-publishing for a couple reasons. Because I did a lot of research on it ahead of time. Number one, with today's times and the way it is, self-publishing is so much faster. You can get a book done just where if you're going to a publisher, you might have to wait months and months and months, and you're at their beck and call.
Right.
Also, if you ever decided to found the right connection and made it a movie or made it something else or decided to add more books, it's your work. Where if you go through a publisher, there's a lot more legal
It's much more complicated.
But again, I'm an airhead, but that's after the research I did, self-publishing just seemed the best. But I also started out broke as could be and, couldn't afford anything. So self-publishing was just the best way for me.
But look, you're a wealth of knowledge now. I mean, you should teach a course on this.
I am. I do. That's
Good.
what I was saying. I do.
Good.
I teach 2 different classes on it now, and I've already helped just a few. Again, this is all a new process, but I've already helped, I think, 5 people, and a couple of them were really stuck where they had started and they didn't know where to go. I know. We already talked yesterday. We talked yesterday, Stacy, for sure. And then, but they're both 2-hour classes, and it'll get you everything you need to know up until from the beginning of your book to the end. The first class,
Tammy, I want you to give us all the information so that we can post it for our viewers as well, so that they can know if they need help writing a book. That would be great.
Yeah, and I just do a group class or a private one if you really want more in-depth on branding or trying to figure out where you need to brand.
I'm so excited for you to help me figure out how to incorporate this little
your story is as amazing as mine. And I think that's why we've connected so much, and you too. I cannot thank you enough for we've just made a friendship with the 3 of us too. I mean, you two are bonded though.
We're the 3 musketeers.
I already put the name of the book in the chat. The author, Tammy Revard. You can go pre-order your copy. As you heard, it's almost, they're just ready, waiting for the illustrations and cover. And I'm looking forward to reading your book. And I hope everybody else can support you. I think that in your time of you not being able to work and just with low self-esteem, I think it's amazing that you put together a book. You volunteered your time. You've helped so many people.
And her time of need.
Right. And I think I know when you give, it comes back to you. So
You're thriving.
And that is one of Zig Ziglar's, I forgot the exact
Quotes.
wording, but that's one of Zig Ziglar's famous sayings, is that'll come to you. And so many people gave to me that I do, I want to share this word, but I want to help others with low self-esteem out there, because, and I know I've said it a couple times,
And you will do that.
I truly believe you all can do it. If I can do it, any of you out there can do it. I know you can.
Here's what Zig Ziglar said. He said, you can get everything in life you want if you will just help enough other people get what they want. Is that what you were trying to remember?
Yes, exactly.
Tammy, I know what that black hole is like. I've seen that black hole several times, and I will never see it again. That's for sure. Because once you understand, once you learn and you understand, once you've really been there and you hit rock bottom, and you learn and you're empowered, you'll never go back there.
But even if you do, though, part of the reason we're where we're at, and that's what people don't realize, is part of the reason we're where we're at is because we struggled. And you would not be successful if it were not for mistakes, because you have to make mistakes, and you can't harp on yourself because of mistakes. You got to look at mistakes as, oh, that's a learning experience. I won't do that again. And
like this last thing that happened to me, I was in the most incredible place. I came out like 2 days before that on YouTube, and I was ready to go full blast with my work. And then I was brutally attacked. And it put me, I had major brain trauma. I was stuttering. My brain would stop like 12 o'clock in the afternoon. I was done. I mean, I was so severely beaten that I was unrecognizable, first of all, but my brain trauma was tremendous. And again, that, because we talked to you about the ASEA, and Gilad put me on the ASEA. She sent it to me right before I had surgery. And within 4 days after I had surgery, I had no pain, but within 10 days, my brain trauma was completely gone. And I owe my life to Gilad. I love you, Gilad. I love you. You are my angel.
My pleasure. Listen, it's an incredible supplement that works at the cellular level. It's already something that you have in your body. And obviously, if people are interested to know what happened to you and how you got through your trauma and so quickly, then they can reach out to you. And
I've ordered it from them. I cannot wait to try it.
It's going to help you for sure.
I can't wait to bring you back on as soon as it makes a major difference. And some people, listen, most people it takes longer than it took me. Some people it takes 2 months, right? What?
Yeah, it could take a couple months. But you know what, Tammy? She's going to bring you on as a host, and you're going to interview Stacy.
That's perfect.
Stacy's story is amazing.
I feel like my story isn't, my story is different, but Stacy has been through
hell
so much as well. And you've been through things too.
We've all been through
things. I have, but I love my life. I am living my dreams, and it sounds like you are too. And I love you girls. We are the Three Musketeers.
I'm honored to be a part.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on today. And we'll look forward to seeing you again, probably in another week, with another amazing story to tell. Good night, everyone.
Bye. Love you. Catch it.
Got it.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.